Next part of our lesson is sensory receptors. Sensory receptors are sense organs which receives a stimulus and turns the stimulus into a sensory impulse. Sensory receptors are nothing but sense organs, and sense organs are considered as windows to the brain. Sensory receptors are some specialized structures in the body to receive the various stimuli from external or internal surroundings. The nature of receptor is defined by the type of stimuli it can respond. For example, photoreceptors, they respond to light stimuli. Phonoreceptors, they respond to sound stimuli. A receptor is capable of converting a stimulus into a sensory impulse. That is the actual function of a sense organ. Receive a stimulus and turns the stimulus into a sensory impulse. When a specific type of stimulus reaches the receptor, an action potential is generated in it. When receptor receives a stimulus, the stimulus generates a type of potential difference. That potential difference is turned into an action potential. This action potential is considered as an impulse. Or in other words, an impulse is defined as the sum total of electrical and chemical changes that occurs in a neuron at the time of transmission of a stimulus. This action potential is carried in the form of an impulse. These impulses are conducted to different functional areas of the brain for processing and interpretation. Processing and interpretation, after receiving the impulse, they will analyze the impulse, they will generate the right type of response and turns the responses into motor impulses. Classification of receptors. Receptors are classified on the basis of location, function, and their sensitivity to specific stimuli. As I told you, phonoreceptors sensitive to sound. Exteroceptors are somatic, receive stimuli directly from external environment. That is, the receptors are broadly classified as exteroceptors and interoceptors, which receives external stimuli and which receives internal stimuli. Following are the type of exteroceptors. Here we have a classification, a table is coming. Phonoreceptors, internal ear organ of cortei is the specific structure and sound reception is the function. Statoreceptors, internal ear semicircular canal is the specific organ. Receptors for maintaining body balance and equilibrium. From this it is clear that ear is not only an organ for hearing but also an organ for body balance. Photoreceptors, retina of eye, receive sensory stimuli for vision. Thermoreceptors present on skin receives sensory stimuli for heat and cold. Mechanoreceptors again present on the skin and sensitive to mechanical stimuli like touch, pain, pressure, deep pressure, etc. And chemoreceptors are receptors. There are two types. One is gustatoreceptors present in the taste buds of tongue, and olfactory receptors which are present in the nasal epithelium, sensitivity to different type of smell as well as chemical substances. The gustatoreceptors are sensitive to taste of sweet, salt, sour, bitter, and umami. And olfactory receptors are sensitive to about 10,000 different smells. Interoceptors receive stimuli coming from within the body. Interoceptors, internal receptors. Interoceptors are following type. Enteroceptors from internal body, sensitivity to stimuli coming from internal organs like hunger, thirst, and osmotic changes. Proprioceptors, joints, muscles, and tendons detect changes in the movements of joints, tendons, muscles, pain, tension, etc. And baroreceptors, this also considered as mechanoreceptors, receiving signals from internal organs present in the wall of atria, vena cava, aortic arch, and carotid sinus. Senses changes in blood pressure so as to restore homeostasis through vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Here you have to remember the name of the receptor as well as its location. And these two slides are only for revision. You can go through it, and this is for extra knowledge. Just go through the slides, these two slides. In this also the classification is given for the receptors, but the classification is given here in these two slides are in a very broader manner. Thank you.